That's good.
Enjoying it?
Ah, yeah, for sure. Yes. All the information is valuable, yeah. C'est incredible.
Contrôlé et strictement chaque billet, tout le monde doit numéro passeport, nom. Et tout ça pour des raisons de corruption. La même chose.
Oh, nice ruins. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look at that. Wow.
They have to build.
Wow, what's that?
Okay?
Oh my goodness. This is
They fill it up, all of that with the stone, mixed
the
with the
name?
mortar. They don't leave any space in any
okay.
structure. No tunnels, no chambers, no tombs. So are completely different than the Egyptian buildings. Because those ones have different function, that's why they left everything inside. But these are completely solid. And the function of this structure, like this, they use only to connect with the gods. So it was ceremonial temples that only the king and the priest are allowed to go to the top. And the flat building, like El Mirador, La Danta, they use as an astronomical observatory. The whole flat building they used to see the Milky Way. But that building was built by layers. You know? All the time they was building on top, that's why it became a massive structure. And here we have a similar building, you know, that is the Great Pyramid that they used to see the Milky Way. Okay, as known, Temple of the Great Jaguar for that carving that the Maya left on the doorway. That carving was made with Chico Zapote wood, you know, the gum tree. It was carved by hand, and on that carving, they represent the most famous and the stronger king of Tikal. I'm gonna call him King Cacao or King Chocolate. It's much easier to say that name than say Hasawa Chaan Kawil. Try? It's difficult. Hasawa Chaan Kawil. So he became the most famous and the stronger king of Tikal. So he had a long kingdom. 52 years he was on the throne of Tikal. 680 AD to 732 AD. He ordered to build this temple and that one that is in front, temple number 2, at the same time. 680 AD to 700 AD. So that means that the Mayas spent 20 years to build one temple. And then he died 32 years after, 732. And he was buried inside of the artificial base by his first son that became the next king of Tikal. 7 meters down inside of the artificial base in the middle of the temple, King Cacao was buried. The archaeologists found that tomb in 1962. That was part of the investigation. Nobody had any idea that the Maya left a tomb inside of the base. Normally, the people was buried on top of the artificial base and between the temple. So right there. No inside of the base and never inside of the temple. That was one of the questions. Why? Only this king was buried there because the rest of the king was buried in the North Acropolis with the whole royal family that lived in this area. And he was buried inside and under on his temple by his first son just to commemorate his long kingdom. He had a long kingdom. He tried to put this city on top of the whole cities. That's why Tikal became the most famous and the stronger Mayan city on that time. And he was buried inside of the base because his first son wants to represent. So he wants to represent that special trip to his father to the underworld. Órale. Normally, when they die, literally they move down to Xibalba to get a new life. So he wants to represent that special trip to his father to Xibalba, the place where they got the new life, the new reincarnation. I'm gonna show you a picture just to get an idea how the explorer, the first one, found this temple on that time. After he cut down the vegetation, is this one. It's possible to see the platform. The time, the vegetation don't destroy too much because the walls or the temple, it's too steep. the back side, this side, and the other side, 80% are original. From the door to the top, the whole building of the temples, 97% are original. And this is this was the location of the tomb. So look, the little red square at the bottom, that was the place where they found the tomb. But now, the original skeleton of King Cacao, 16.5 pounds of jade that he used just to decoration, more than 100 polychrome artifacts where they left the most important information about his long kingdom, and 37 pieces of human bone with some carving are possible to see in Guatemala City. So they remove, and then they put back the whole material. And I'm gonna show you a replica, a picture of a replica of his skeleton. The whole green stuff are jade, 16.5 pounds of jade. The skeleton has 1.80 meters. He died when he had 93 years old. Okay? So today we know that they live long time, but depending in which class the people live. As today, upper class had the best nutrition, enough protein. They don't work building, fighting with their enemies, or working the land. Just they send the order to do all of that, so that's why they had a good life. 65 years old was the average for the upper class. 1.80 meter, 1.70, almost 6 feet. Middle class, 45 years old, around 5 feet, like 1.65. The nutrition was more or less, but the big problem was for the lower class. They had a bad nutrition, bad health. They have to work all the time, building, fighting with their enemies, and working the land. Bad nutrition, bad health. They died. The average was around 35 years old. They died very young. 1.40, 1.55, or 1.60. Had you been before in Antigua? Atitlan Lake?
Yeah.
Some of you? Okay. Yes. And the others, do you have any plan to go there? To see Atitlan Lake? To climb the Catenango volcano, Antigua? So you saw, and you're gonna see many indigenous people. They are pure Mayan descendants. You saw a lady like this. Most of the ladies like this, 1.40. And most of the men, 1.55, 1.60. On that time, middle class and lower class, they were short. Only upper class, they was high. They was very tall. In Guatemala, we are living around 18 millions of people, and 64% of that population are pure Mayan descendants. So almost 14 millions of people are indigenous people. They are speaking there 18 different Mayan languages. They don't understand each other, and I am mestizo. I am mixed, so I am looks different. I am considered a little tall, okay? And I don't understand any of that 18 Mayan languages. Only they are speaking there. When everybody moved from here, when all of this city was abandoned, that was almost at the same time, 80% of 2.5 millions of Mayas decide to move to the southwest of the country. There they found the Atitlan Lake, the best place to survive. The shorter people moved to that part, and the tall people, upper class, the smart people, the architecture, engineers, mathematicians, politicians, astronomers, kings, priests, they decide to move to live in Yucatan, Mexico, because there they found the best place to survive. Do you have any idea what they found there? If here they don't have no water, no food, what they found there? Exactly. They found cenotes, the best place to survive, enough water, never dry, cold water, And they was the founder, this 20% was the founder of Chichen Itza, Tulum, Cobá, Uxmal, Snaf, and many places built in the whole northern of Yucatan. And that places later was conquered by Aztec culture that became a big empire. They conquered from center of Mexico, Teotihuacan to Yucatan, Mexico. So they never conquered this part of land. They never touched Petén, only Yucatan to the north. And then they built on top of the Mayans buildings. That's why the whole architecture that you can see in the whole northern of Yucatan was built by Aztec. And later, 1492, Aztec culture was conquered by Spaniards. And that was the ending of this civilization in Mexico side. And here, that's 60% of indigenous people was conquered by Spaniards. 1524, and that was the ending of this civilization in general. So we are talking about almost 4,000 years of existence of this culture and never became empire. Never became empire because all the time they was fighting each other. The whole city was enemies. They built cities as state. Aztec culture in Mexico, Incas, South of America, they need less than 300 years to become a big empire, so they conquer a lot of land. And this civilization used only 400,000 square kilometers to live. 5 states of Mexico, the whole Guatemalan country, Belize, and just a little section of Honduras and El Salvador. But today, we don't know what was the problem on that time. We don't know exactly true what's happened. For the archaeologists, it's still been a mystery what happened with this civilization. But one of the most important evidence that they found in the whole cities, in the whole archaeological site, is that this civilization suffered of that overpopulation between 700 AD to 850 AD. That was the time when they have to build much more structure than before. They have to do more agriculture because they tried to feed like 2.5 million of Mayas. For to do both things, build and agriculture, they have to do a massive deforestation. Because University of Pennsylvania, in 1958, they did the investigation how the Maya did to get the material that they used to build all of this structure. They built their own kilns, like a stone oven, where they did the recreation. And during that investigation, the North American archaeology discovered that they have to cut 20 big trees to do a lot of firewood, to cook a lot of limestone in the kilns, to get only 1 cubic meter of this material with 20 big trees. So imagine how many trees they use just to build one temple. How many trees they use just build Tikal or El Mirador, or build more than 5,000 archaeological sites. So we don't have any idea. That's why they say that they have to do a massive deforestation to do both things. They don't found any evidence about reforestation. They never replant. They destroyed the nature during that 150 years of glory, and then around 850 AD, they have to stop building. There are no more evidence about the structures. That's because they started to have that big problem with water. So drought was probably the reason why all of these places was abandoned almost at the same time. At the beginning, the archaeologists said that probably this civilization disappeared because maybe they had problems with disease, like epidemic, pandemic, but that's never happened because they never found any evidence about that. So this is one of the most important archaeological theory about the Mayans collapse. Overpopulation, massive deforestation, and then drought, food and water. Okay? The last date that the Maya left in Tikal, it's 889 AD. So after that time, the upper class people were the first one to abandon Tikal. And that's happened with the whole cities and later, but we don't know how many months, years, the middle and the lower class moved. But around 900 AD, the whole city was completely abandoned. Nobody lived here. The whole city was abandoned, and then was the time of the vegetation that was covering all of this building and destroying. During that 1,000 years that all of these places was abandoned. Okay? So this is about Mayans collapse, chicos. So I don't know if you have any question. Maybe you hear different theories, or probably you read something different. They use a normal blocks, to build. Enough to carry by prisoner shoulders. Okay, if not, we can continue to the main plaza. That is the best place where you can take a lot of pictures.